So the Bitcoin chart is currently moving in a corrective price channel, you could say. As you can see, Bitcoin is currently pulling back from the swing high that formed a week ago, around the 21st of July. Bitcoin touched our resistance area here. That was the first level of our fib zone, and now the price is forming a nice corrective looking channel. It's a descending channel, but in a nice angle, which means at some point it's possible for Bitcoin to continue this move up that started in July and form a larger corrective bounce. Please note, and you guys know that if you've been following the work over the last few weeks, you guys know that I treat this as only a corrective bounce in a bear market, which means the overall assumption is, and it's always important to restate that thesis, it's important to understand that we're probably still in a bear market. I mean, I can't know for sure, but that's currently the assumption. It remained the assumption throughout Q1, throughout Q2, and so far in Q3. And when Q3 is over, I will also give you a Q4 update. Also, going to really I'm looking forward to that Q4 update, because I think in Q3, either end of Q3 or probably early Q4, the bear market could come to an end. So I think we are close. I think the move down, and it's not just what I think, I mean, it's what the market is telling us, right? This is an ABC decline, and the C wave might still extend further. For those of you who are not so familiar with Elliott Wave, the idea is that in a C wave, we get 5 waves. And the current bounce that started in July, which was fully expected, is likely a so-called wave 2. And I know I'm repeating myself because not too much is going on, right, at the Bitcoin chart. But that's also why we're going to take a look at the smaller time frames. There's certainly some stuff to discuss. And a quick reminder that these videos are also always educational tutorials, right? They're always educational aspects as well. This is not simply only market analysis. But I think it's important to highlight that Bitcoin can still bounce a little higher in this counter trend move, because if we are really in a bear market, which is the assumption, then movements to the upside can be classed as counter trend movements, and we treat the Bitcoin bounce that started in July as such a counter trend move. Possibly Bitcoin is currently working on this B wave pullback. The standard support area here for the B wave is the 78.6 retracement to 38.2 retracement, which means ideally Bitcoin, to keep this potential intact for a larger bounce, yeah, Bitcoin holds this. This orange support zone, I mentioned it many times, is our main support area. Not micro support, it's the main support which keeps the idea alive that Bitcoin can still extend higher in a wave 2. Look, it's possible the wave 2 already topped. That would be the yellow scenario here. I would treat this as an alternative right now, because so far the movements to the downside, well, there's overlap in there. The move up, to be fair, doesn't look fully finished, so we might see this wider wave 2. It's not strictly needed though, and the overall assumption is that we're in a bear market and that Bitcoin will continue to form further lows. Yeah, and so I think to get a good idea that this next bounce to the upside has started, we want to see at least a break above Fibonacci resistance, which I'm going to show you on the smaller time frame, and a move above the upper boundary line here off the channel, which is highlighted in yellow. Important to note that it would be easily possible for Bitcoin to form another 1 or 2 more lows here and actually test the orange support area between 59.3 and 62.5K, but it's not technically needed. For sure, this B wave pullback has more room, but any further downside, obviously, will take more time, will extend the overall range, and Bitcoin often forms a top in a wave 2, end of July or August, early August. So it's not a must for Bitcoin to move higher. In my opinion, Bitcoin has already fulfilled the minimum expectations of this wave 2. Now we've remained in a range basically all of July. I mean, we're currently testing price levels here of the 6th of July. And please note that all these corrective movements to the upside in this bear market, because Bitcoin is so weak, they've really only fulfilled minimum expectations. We didn't really get any strong rally that brought really bullishness back. So again, I wanna keep the door open for that one more high, but we need to keep in mind what Bitcoin's behavior has been so far in this bear market, and most of these bounce moves have really remained very, very weak. So before we continue, just a few words about our partner Bybit. Many of you know Bybit for cryptos, but they've recently expanded their platform to include US stock products as well. From a single Bybit account, you can access spot stocks, stock perpetuals, TradFi stocks, and Alpha X stocks, so there's no need to switch between multiple platforms. To coincide with the earnings season, Bybit is currently running a campaign where eligible stock trading earns points. Those points determine your leaderboard ranking, can be redeemed through the points store, and unlock additional rewards. The campaign also includes a daily prediction feature where participants use their points to predict which of 10 stock perpetual pairs will be the strongest performer the following trading day. Correct predictions share the reward pool, and overall the campaign features a prize pool of up to 1 million USDT, including a grand prize worth 50,000 USDT, equivalent to a Tesla Cybertruck. New users can also qualify for additional welcome rewards after their first eligible deposit and stock trade. If you'd like to learn more or take part, you'll find the campaign link and full details in the comment section and description. All right, and this is currently the smaller time frame chart for Bitcoin. You see also here the yellow price channel. So Bitcoin is moving in a channel to the downside. We can adjust it slightly. It's not it's not a perfect channel, but we have 3 touch points above. We've got a couple of touch points down there, maybe even 3. And so, yeah, we should take this channel still seriously. I call it a corrective price channel because, Bitcoin remains technically in a correction as long as the price is following it, which means further downside remains likely as long as the upper boundary line isn't broken. In addition to that, the upper boundary line aligns very well with the micro resistance we talked about in the last video, which is between 64,560 and $65,073. A downside reaction from this zone could open the door to a test of the support area between 62,533 and 59,369. So my view remains that Bitcoin formed possibly an A wave to the upside from the July low into the 15th of July high. Since then, the price started a consolidation period, which I call a B wave pullback. So it's possible that Bitcoin is following the white count to the downside, which could even reach the 59,369 level. But as long as there is no decisive break below this level, the price can still attempt to rally higher to form this wider wave 2 bounce we talked about. However, I would not necessarily rely on all of these microstructures to the downside. So it's not a must for Bitcoin to form, a perfect sequence of 5 waves down as shown here in white. We know that B waves can be complex. They can turn into all sorts of different patterns. So I'm not trying to predict every single wave here of this B wave. I simply want to point out that Bitcoin is in a corrective price channel, and the risk of at least a few more lows remains elevated as long as the price can't break above initial resistance levels. And so please be aware that, of course, in a B wave, the microstructure can change. That's normal in a B wave. I mean, that's not even anything unusual. So I'm going to track this to the downside with you guys here. First evidence that a meaningful low is in and that we're moving higher in a C wave to the upside, potentially to 69 to 72K. Well, that would be a break above the Fibonacci resistance, $65,073, and the upper boundary line of the channel needs to be a decisive break, and then the door opens to the 66,300 level and the 69 to 72K area. So that's currently what we're watching. Please note that the move to the upside from the last swing low here that formed this week appears to be a 3-wave move up. So I continue to track this as a corrective bounce as well, but I can't rule out a final push into the red resistance zone, even in the white scenario. And so I think as nearest support I can offer, here we have 63,530. So should the price break below this level, that is the B wave low. That would be our first indication the wave 2 in the white scenario has topped. Why that level? Because it's one of the Elliott Wave guidelines that says that should the price move below or above, depending on if it's a bullish or a bearish move, the B wave low or high, this is an indication that the next move has started. In this case, it would be the B wave low here internally. And this would be an indication that the third wave down has started of the next move. In this case, targeting then the 62,530 level next, where we can probably expect some structural support as well. So that's the update on Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Yeah, and if you're interested in additional updates, then check out our membership. There are a lot of additional updates, written updates as well. You can get access to our live charts, to our academy in our terminal, plus obviously the terminal itself with more than 70 tools and indicators. Thanks so much. I put the links into the comments. Bye-bye.